morning, all my friends, my wanderers. Glad to see you here this morning. For all of you subscribers, welcome back. For those that are not subscribed but are here, maybe you would consider subscribing. And today's video is just sort of a chatty video, a little update. I wanted to read an article to you and talk about what's going on with our food prices and so forth, which seems to be an ongoing day-to-day changes that, it's difficult to keep up with. I also, no coffee today. I'm doing my my juice. If you recall, in one of my kitchen gadgetry videos, I made the ABC juice, and that's what I have for you. Welcome this morning. Okay, I have this video I wanted to talk to you about. Hopefully I'm going to be able to bring this up so that we can, oh dear, and so I can see it. It's been a little difficult here. I don't know what's going on with my computer, to be honest with you. I should have probably checked this first to see if I was up good enough to... Okay, here we go. I guess I wasn't. Anyways, I am now. Thank you for being patient. Okay, the title of this video is One Way Companies Are Concealing Higher Prices, Smaller Packages. It goes on to say, consumers are absorbing higher labor and materials costs in the form of thinner rolls, smaller cans, lighter bags, and experts say such shrinkflation, as they're calling it, will ramp up in the months to come, which is not such great news. I need to add in here, I'm seriously not a doom and gloomer kind of person, but I do believe in being prepared for what's coming. I believe probably you might call me more of a realistic person, not a doom and gloomer. I'm just looking at the world, looking at what the companies themselves are saying, and kind of realistically looking at that. It doesn't do me any good to hide my head in a hole somewhere and say, oh, things will get better. Because, to be honest with you, they haven't gotten a lot better. And will they? I sure hope so. Anyways, continuing on with this article. Consumers are paying more for a growing range of household staples in ways that don't show up on receipts. Thinner rolls, lighter bags, smaller cans, as companies look to offset rising labor and material costs without scaring off consumers. They're banking on you not to notice these things, basically, is what they're doing. Some of us do, some of us don't. Remember when a pound of bacon was 16 ounces, now it's 12 ounces? There's so many different things that have happened. I myself one time was saying, how come I'm going through so much more toilet paper lately? And I'm looking at it and I'm like, the package says the same number of sheets and length and so forth, and then upon putting it on the holder, I noticed this fits a lot looser on there. What they've done is made it narrower so they can still advertise it as the same number of sheets, the same number of ply, and so on. So that's kind of what I'm talking about here when I'm reading this. It's a form of retail camouflage known as shrinkflation. And economists and consumer advocates who track packaging expect it to become more pronounced as inflation ratchets up. taking hold of such everyday items such as paper towels, potato chips, diapers. Consumers check the price every time they buy, but they don't check the net weight, said Edgar Dworsky, a consumer advocate and former Assistant Attorney General in Massachusetts, who has been tracking products sizes for more than 30 years. When the price of raw materials like coffee beans or paper pulp goes up, manufacturers are faced with a choice. Do we raise the price knowing consumers will see it and grumble about it? Or do we give them a little bit less and accomplish the same thing? Often it's easier to do the latter. Let's see, I don't want to bore you with reading the whole thing. I'm just kind of trying to touch on the major okay, for I don't know who this gentleman is, but we'll just say for this person, shrinkflation arrived in the form of cat food. Hi, all you cat food people. Aren't you glad to hear that? That's a little sarcasm there. Without warning, late last year, his standard order for Royal Canin was filled with 5.1 ounce cans instead of 5.9. But Chewy.com, his provider, continued to charge him the same $81 for his bi-weekly order. Both he and his 16-year-old cat, Maurice, noticed immediately. It just showed up on my doorstep in a smaller size. Evidently he lives in New Jersey somewhere. And he estimated that that change was going to cost him, or set him back, so to say, more than $240 a year. No explanation, no notification. It really bugged me, he said. Royal Canin, a subsidiary of the packaged goods giant Mars Incorporated. Remember that I mentioned Mars to you in the first part of the series of Are We Feeding Our Pets a Correct Diet? Mars was at one time one of the top in the pet food industry. Said it reduced some product sizes to keep up with unprecedented demand for pet food during the health crisis, including the wet mixture of rabbit liver and pea flour that this person purchased for his now deceased cat. The cans remain the same price, as the difference in the amount of product is not significant and rarely impacts the number of cans being fed to the cat, a company vice president said in a statement. I don't know. Are these excuses? You got me. It's hard to sort through some of these things. The company is among a host of manufacturers and retailers unable or unwilling to absorb higher manufacturing costs. Kimberly Clark, I think I mentioned that in that last video also, has said it will raise prices on Scott toilet paper, Huggies diapers, and other everyday goods by 4 to 9% the beginning of this month. And this article is a June 2021 article. Scott's Miracle-Gro, for all you gardeners or houseplants, are being attacked also, said on an earnings call last night, distribution costs are higher too, so we are going to do what we need to keep our business healthy. Costco, now that's a big company. Let's see what they have to say. Costco executives said last week they were paying higher prices for inventory, as much as 20% more on beef. Again, I can't help but refer you to a video I did a while back where I said I thought that inflation by the end of this summer would be at the 20% mark. And I remind you, when I talk about inflation, I'm not talking about what the government reports, because they don't, when they do their figures, they don't include the price of food to figure out inflation prices, which we know is kind of silly in a way, because we see the inflation in the food as well. And also, Costco said there is a 10% increase on clothing. Though the warehouse chain has so far shouldered most of those increases, along with rising costs for freight, transportation, and labor, their chief financial officer said it may have to raise prices on such staples as its $4.99 rotisserie chicken, or a 40-pack of bottled water, now $2.99, to maintain a profit margin. Inflation pressures abound, he said. Mojo, please. She's such a rascal. She always does this every time I'm trying to talk to you all. But those with dogs, you know how that goes. It's like the child that wants your attention when you're on the phone. So they're saying that inflation pressures abound, he said in an earnings call. Consumer prices rose 4.2% in April from a year earlier, led by double-digit jumps in gasoline and used cars, according to the government's Consumer Price Index. And that's what I'm talking about. That percentage rate they're reporting is not including food. It doesn't. And that's silly. For us anyways, it means something to us. Okay, let's see here. Walmart. Great Value paper towels, for example, went from 168 two-ply sheets per roll to 120. The price at $14.97 remained the same for a dozen rolls, despite the nearly 30% drop in product. Let's see here, I'm scrolling through, trying to pick out the things that would affect us the most. All inflation affects us, but I'm kind of more gearing this towards your food. Okay, they're citing, which I think we all kind of knew this, a container of ice cream. We remember when that used to be more, and gradually the amount has gone down, gone down, gone down. Shoppers' propensity to focus on cost over quantity, he said, also explains pricing conventions around the supermarket. Craft beer generally comes in 4-packs instead of the traditional 6, which would appear too pricey. At the deli counter, cured salmon is typically priced by quarter pound instead of pound measurement, used for more expensive cuts of meats like ham and turkey. Now, you might be willing to pay $9 for a quarter of a pound of lox, but if that sign had said $36 per pound, you would have been aghast at how expensive it is, he said. Companies are constantly playing around with prices. Hold on just a minute, please stop right now. Again, I have to apologize to you. Banks, don't you start because she does. Okay, Hershey, that's a big name company, said consumer insights led to the new, more expensive packing. We spent time understanding how consumers use this type of package, where they stored it and how they opened it, he said. Once a brand downsizes, competitors typically follow, said Dorsky, the consumer advocate in Massachusetts, who now runs consumerworld.org. Shoppers tend to compare the price of products that appear to be the same size, he said, without shopping to distinguish between a jar of peanut butter with 16 ounces and another with 15. Here's another one. Tillamook, I think that's how you pronounce that. County Creamery Association, a farmer-owned cooperative in Oregon, reduced its family-sized containers of ice cream from 56 ounces to 48 ounces this year. In this article, I'm going to put a link for you. It goes on and on and on in talking about this. I just can't express strongly enough how I feel about this. I think we need to be prepared. I don't think prices, they may come down a little, but they're not gonna, at some point, but they're not ever going to go back to before 2020 prices. That's my opinion on that. And I formed that opinion from a lot of different articles that I have read. So I think I kind of brought this up in a video. We have to try to withstand this, because not an awful lot we can do about it, but we can try to offset it a little bit. Again, I urge you, even if it's $10 a week, $5 a week, whatever little extra you have, stock up on the things that you will use. Stock up when the prices are low to save yourself some money. It's the only really way you're going to fight this inflation that's going on. And I guess that's pretty much all I wanted to talk to you about for today. I hope it has given you a little more insight into what is really going on in the world, and it's not just me saying these things. I'm reading these articles straight from different companies. When the companies are, I'm going to call it, warning us of these price increases, this is serious. So I think I'm going to close the video here. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm glad to see that you all came back to watch. I hope you're all well, all doing well. I'm doing great, and I'm continuing on, checking all these articles for you so you don't have to. Again, I'll put the link to this one down in the description box. And I guess that'll be it today. And keep on juicing. That's one way for vegetables and fruits to get into you. Okay, bye-bye.